Hi, my name is Riley, and I'm gonna start this video off with with invitation. I have two in the video, but first invitation is let's take some deep breaths together. Okay. One more. Okay. Second invitation is two questions. So the first question is, what does care mean to you? And in what ways can you give and receive care for yourself and others? So I'm going to talk a little bit about how I would answer this, and then I invite you to also reflect on what these two questions mean for you, and I'll type them out to make them more accessible in remembering them. So what does care mean to you? And in what ways can you give and receive care for yourself and others? And I have two decks in front of me right now, just I might pull as I kind of give my answer and help me navigate my answer in that way. So the decks I have in front of me are the Wild Woman Oracle. This is the guidebook for it, and the Zodiac Tarot is also the guidebook for it. So what does care mean to me? I'm just going to put my question here so I can refer back to it. What does care mean to me? So I'm going to answer, and I'm going to pull some cards as I answer too. Care means to me, I think it's a multi-level thing. So it's a care of myself and the multiple aspects of myself. So whether that be mind, body, spirit, all the different parts and aspects and all the things that make humanness. And also care to me, I think also is on different levels other than just myself. I think can be care of other people, of my community, of my neighbors, of the groups and different communities I am a part of, or not a part of as well. But I think as with myself and others, care also for me is on an environmental level, for the planet, for the different ecosystems and all the intricacies and biodiversity of the planet that we live on. And care also to me, and this is I guess the fourth way, and it also is connected to care of self, because for me, from my perspective, caring for myself in a spiritual way is also caring for myself, and also I think there's a spiritual care too, in maybe that doesn't just relate to me but can relate to me. So I think their care can exist in many different levels, and I think it's important for all of those levels to be addressed and supported. And care looks like, I would say, presence and showing up, giving my attention and my energy to something to make something more supported in what ways are possible to me. I'm gonna pull some cards too. Okay, what does care mean to me? Let's see. I'm gonna just do 2 or 3 maybe. There, we got 1. So first card is, this is Protection Reverse. Okay. Let me do 2. Okay, the next one is Hope. Can you see that? Possibly. Yep, Hope. And do one more. What does care mean to me? What does care mean to me? Oops. Yeah, this one. I don't even know what this one is. Introspection Reverse. Okay. So we got protection reverse. This came off with my hand as well, so we're taking it when I was putting the deck down. This is Peace of the Goddess, which is inner peace. Yeah. All right. I think protection can have kind of a multi-layered interaction or meanings or associations with it. But for me, it feels, with it being reversed, it makes me feel, I think to me this speaks to boundaries and what boundaries are and what we hope to accomplish by having boundaries with ourselves and others in our lives. Protection looks like, having boundaries with myself. So that could look like, okay, I am going to take a break from writing this paper for however much time, and then at the end of that time, I'm going to come back to the paper and finish it so I can have this paper finished by the time it needs to be finished. And also being like flexible with myself and being like, okay, actually the time I took in that break for that paper, I still don't feel fully like, I still don't feel fully refreshed, or like that was like a long enough break. So it's like, okay. Another boundary I have with myself is meeting my needs when they arise and not ignoring them or making myself feel bad for having those needs. So I think it's like being flexible and curious, but also giving myself the support I need by having like boundaries with myself. And like there are boundaries to people, you can have it with like other people other than yourself, but I think just if I speaking for myself, that's what comes to mind when I see this card. And then hope. I think care, yes, actually I think care and hope kind of go hand in hand at times from my perspective. I don't think necessarily I care for things I hope aren't going to improve or be supported in some way. Like care to me is intentional. Like if I'm putting my time and effort and energy into something, I'm doing it because I hope that thing, whatever it may be, whether it be my needs or helping and caring for someone else or caring for the planet, I'm doing it because I want to see beauty or love or support in these ways that like my body needs by getting good sleep, or maybe the outside needs by picking up trash or there's many ways, but I think for me hope and care kind of are intertwined. I don't think I realized that until this moment, which is pretty cool. The next card was introspection reverse, and I think introspection for me is so important. Like being self-aware is so important, especially around meeting the needs of myself and also to some extent those outside of my energy and control. But I think specifically for myself, introspection is so important because how am I, like if I have a need and I'm not aware of it, how I feel like it's going to be really challenging. And like speaking from personal experience, it's been really challenging to care for myself if I have a need, if I'm not aware of it. So I think for me, to help me better care for myself, and by better caring for myself, I'm better capable of caring for others. But I don't do it just for that. I do it for many reasons. But to care for myself starts with me first being aware of like, what do I need? And in different times and in different spaces, my needs will and can change, and that is okay. But it starts with like getting sensitive to myself first. And also something I've learned too is to not let the care for myself, like caring for myself before I hit like max I need care in this moment, and if I don't get care in this moment, things are gonna get really bad. Care for me too is caring for myself even when I could wait a little longer. Like, I could wait a little longer to go to bed. I could wait a little longer to do this or that. But I think it's also it's like being kind to myself. It's like, okay, well, I don't necessarily have to stay up and watch the end of this episode, even though it's so interesting. And I love that I'm so interested in this show. I wonder if maybe it would be more kind for me to maybe just get a few more minutes even of peace and sleep tonight. Yeah. So care to me also is about like kindness to myself and others. And I think it's important to pair care with curiosity. I think so. For myself, I can speak for me. I can get so judgmental. I'm like, well, why do I need to do this in this way? And it's like, I think meeting myself with kindness in that moment when I'm feeling that, like, oh, why do I have to like be existing like this? It's like, it's okay that I'm existing in this way, and I understand that it's frustrating, or however I'm feeling about it. Maybe I'm sad, maybe I'm frustrated, maybe I'm feeling critical. It's okay that I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing. And also, I wonder if by meeting this need, I might feel different about it. I think it's just really important for me to be kind and curious to and with myself a lot of times. And then the last card was inner peace reversed. And I think inner peace is such an important topic. And I think sometimes it can get really tricky when an individual's inner peace bumps up against like inner peace, or like peace of others, peace of environment, peace of systems and things like that. Because on one hand, let's do an example. So say someone really values, okay, let me think of an example. Okay, actually, I'm going to use myself as an example. So, a need I have sometimes is, a lot of the time is rest. And I've realized I need to rest more than the average. I mean, is there really an average? I don't really think so, but rest I thought I needed, I sometimes need more than that. And it can be in big ways, such as getting more sleep and having better sleep quality, and it can be in little ways as making things in my everyday life take less energy away from me. And sometimes that does help with my peace of mind, my peace in my body, by caring for my need for rest. And also, sometimes I will I'm gonna tweak this example a little bit when I was going for it. I think sometimes in that it truly is like, this is my example. This is not, I don't mean this to be applied to everyone, every other situation. But I know for me, say I'm like really tired and I'm like, I don't like, and I'm laying in bed at night and I'm like, I do not have the energy really right now to get up and like go wash my face and brush my teeth or whatever, like whatever hygiene I feel like I need to do. I don't have the energy to leave my bed right now. In a way that would be kind to myself would be like, okay, well, let's meet myself where I am in this moment. I don't have the energy to really get out of bed right now, so let me use like makeup remover wipes or baby wipes, or like have those like little toothbrushes, like doing things that are easier for me to like take care of myself given my energy levels. And also there is an awareness of using like baby wipes creates waste, and like the waste also contributes to like some larger conversations and issues with like trash and like how much space trash is taking up and like things in their time of decomposing. So I think what I'm trying to say is it's really important to hold space for like complexity to exist. Like rarely in my life I've experienced there truly being it is this option or it is that option. It's, for me, it's usually there's some shade of in between in the gray that I need to hang out in, rather than having such strict like, well, I can either care for myself or I can either care for the planet. Like having those strict like this or that thinking isn't always helpful for me. And actually I really work to try not to think in those ways, because it's really hard for me to operate when I operate in such extremes. So it's important to me to find ways that I can uphold values in both areas. So it's like, how can I care for myself and how can I also care for the planet? So maybe instead of like the baby wipes, maybe I have a setup by my bed where I have a reusable towel and I have a water bottle that can also be reusable. Like however this works for like given like the individual, like what they have access to and what works for them. So like maybe I have water by my bed that's like I change out regularly, that I have a reusable towel and I have like a face wash and I can wash my face by my bed. I'm not getting out of my bed, and also I'm not using something necessarily that is like a single use and that will be disposed. This is just an example of that, like getting clear about what I actually need. It's not that I needed the baby wipes. It's not that I even needed the makeup remover wipes. What I needed was access and doing hygienic routine for myself to keep myself as clean and healthy as possible given my energy levels. So I think care for me needs to be like done in a way where it makes sense to me and it's not full of judgment and it's not full of like criticism, but it also like sticks to my values and sticks to how I want to like exist in this world is really important to me. So inner peace, I think, can be like, again, can be challenging when my peace maybe bumps up against what peace means for something or someone else. But again, it's finding the shades of in between. Like, where can we find maybe some compromise of like peace for me and peace for outside of me? They don't have to be in like, they don't have to be like butting heads. Like there can be this, okay, how do I still get my needs met? How can others still get their needs met? How can we do that together in a way that makes sense for like all of us? So I think that it's really important. Okay. And then to answer the second part of my question, we're going to pull cards, tarot cards. Okay. So in what ways can I give and receive care for myself and others? What ways can I give? Ooh, okay. So we got 2 came out. Ooh, 3. Just one just slid off the top. we're gonna keep these for now. All right, so we got the Ace of Wands. We have the Four of Wands reverse, and this is the one that slid off the top. This is Six of Pentacles reverse. Okay, in what ways can I give and receive care for myself and others? I think, okay, with the Ace of Wands, it's making me think, specifically looking at this image, how it's like the person holding the wand and then there's like a really big fire behind them. It's making me think of like like how sustainable something, like an action or something is. So it's like that wand it's made of wood, and if it is set on fire, that wand or that piece of wood only has so long until it's completely like burned out, and then it's in a completely different state. It's charred. Like, it's not gonna relight because I don't know the science behind it, but like the fire burnt through all the wood. So I think with that in mind, I think it's really important for me, and I would encourage also others, to be aware of like our limitations and strengths, our strengths and limitations, and being really aware of both, and like what am I capable of, what can I do, what can I, it's not just, and also it's not just like what you can do, it's like who you are. It's like, what are your strengths in who you are, what you can do, what you can't do, like all these things. Okay, assessing the strengths, and also being realistic with, like, as I was talking about earlier, my energy levels. I can't do it all. Okay, my energy can go pretty quickly, and it's important to me to be like strategic about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So I think too that is an important balance for me, and I would think also others too, is knowing like, and I think this also speaks with the Six of Pentacles reverse, about it's this like balance of like giving and receiving. I think there needs, for me, I will speak for myself, but I think maybe others can relate, that there needs to be a balance between giving and receiving. Like, I don't always want to just be giving or receiving care. Like, it's so important for me to find balance in that. And then, in what ways can I give and receive care for myself and others? Yeah, I think the balance piece is really important. And also, yes, okay, I'm looking at the Four of Wands, and I'm like, in the moment, I was like, I'm not 100% sure what this is trying to say, but I think I understand now. I think also fun. Fun is important, and fun maybe isn't always effective, or, okay, let's say it like this. Maybe fun isn't always easily held in every situation. And also, fun is still a really important part of life from my perspective, and I think maybe others would agree with me in this too, but I will hold this from a place of my perspective. Fun and joy, and creating joy for yourself and creating joy for others. Like, these are important things for me, because this is how I want to exist in the world. Creating little moments for myself. This is I love doing that. And creating little moments for others, I love doing that. Like, it's important to me though to find balance in that, and balance that too with like others supporting me, and like and me receiving from others, like holding these things in balance. But fun, and it doesn't have to be like, I went somewhere and Like, I had to spend all this money to have fun. It doesn't. Fun can exist wherever you are, and it can be free. It can be free because we all have imaginations. We all have the ability to be creative and to make our experiences, like, we all have the power to decide how we want certain experiences to look like in our lives. And granted, that also needs to be held with where the world, how the world is operating at the moment, or not even just at the moment, historically in the moment, how things exist right now. Like, we very much are in a world that has certain values that aren't always, okay, I'm just gonna say this. I feel like we live in a world that doesn't always care about people. I feel like there are systems in place that exist that do not value individuals, they do not value communities, they do not value well-being, they do not value care. And also, we as people, regardless of our background, regardless of our identity, and while these things they are important, but regardless of the things that make us who we are, the circumstances in our lives, both past and present, like, despite all the things in our realities, we still have the power to create the lives we want to live. We still have the power to be the change that we want to see in the world. And not everyone, like, my choices and the opportunities I have may and might look different than someone else. And it's not about, for me, like, trying to get an idea of, like, what other people's choices are. I found it's really frustrating for me because it's kind of not where my energy is meant to be going, and trying to figure out others. I just can't. And I've come to the conclusion, which I would much rather spend my time and energy figuring out what can I do given my circumstances. And in that, how can I care for myself the best I can so I can care for what is in my capability. And that looks different for everyone. That's going to look different for everyone based on so many different things, but we still all have power. Like, I feel like sometimes that can be really downplayed, especially with how things are looking right now. I think it can get really, that I would argue and say fact. That fact can get really kind of hazy sometimes, especially with when the world feels so out of control. And you know what? I want to validate that. I don't want to come from a place where it's like me being preachy. This is not my intention. My intention is to remind you that you are a powerful human being, and to do the best you can do with the circumstances and the environment and all the things, all the factors that play in your individual life. Doing the best things that you can do to help yourself and your community, if that is also something you value. Because I'm looking even at this note where I wrote down the question for myself. At the top of it, it says, it's okay to have days where the only thing you do is survive. And that's so true. That is so true. We're all living, even though we exist on this planet together, we're all really living individual experiences. But that doesn't mean we need to have, like, even though we are having, like, individual experiences, it doesn't mean we have to be alone. That doesn't mean we have to walk, or however we move through life, it doesn't mean we have to be alone. And I think for me, it's really important to help other people and myself remember we're not powerless. Even though there are things outside of our control. Okay, I want to hold these together. Dialectics is something I really love because it's like you're holding two seemingly opposite things, two things that seem like they contradict, and they're like, no, they can exist at the same time. I love it. Okay. There can be things outside of my control, and I still have power. They seem like they have heads, but I'm telling you, there can be things outside of my control, and I still have power. Like together, like those things together, it's acknowledging that there are many things happening in this world, many things outside of my control, many things I don't agree with, many things that make me sad, that make me angry, that make me honestly hopeless sometimes. And also, I have the power to still show up in my life and still show up in the ways I want to make a difference in the world, and still show up supporting for myself, show up still caring for myself, still showing up receiving care, still showing up giving care. Like I'm still going to exist, and I'm still going to move through my life even though things feel really scary and really intense and really chaotic and uncertain. I'm still going to show up. And that is important to me. Yeah. So, yeah. Thanks for listening. If you decided to listen to this, no worries if not too. But I just invite you to also reflect on what does care mean to you, and in what ways can you give and receive care for yourself and others. And if you feel like sharing, I would love to hear it. You can put a comment, or you can write me an email, or however I would love to hear your thoughts because they're important, and I love meeting people, and I love learning about other existences that are out there, whether they be similar or different than mine. I really love I love the human experience, the good, the bad, the ugly, and I just really want to hold space for like people and individuals, communities, like whatever people and however they're existing. It's important to me. So yes, I'd be curious if anybody want to share their thoughts on this topic. I would love to hear it. Yes, thank you so much. Be well, be safe, and do the best you can to take care of yourself and the things that matter to you.